Since the beginning of time, d4 players have enjoyed the luxury of a slow, positional style of chess that allows them to consistently delay losing until the middle game, which sounds great, but there's one problem. Nowadays, if you even breathe in the direction of the queen's pawn, your opponent immediately spams knight f6, and now you have to go through the routine of getting annihilated by yet another irritating King's Indian player. Stay calm. In the next 3 minutes, I'm going to teach you how to defeat the King's Indian defense, and inflict permanent psychological damage on anyone who tries to use it. Let's get started. The King's Indian starts with d4, knight f6, c4, g6, knight c3, and bishop g7. From here we take the center with e4, and they defend with d6, and then we play bishop e2. You've got more space, you're dominating the center, and you've made no concessions. So why would they do this? Black's plan is to castle quickly, and then attack on the king's side with these pawns. This basically means moving the knight, throwing their f-pawn at you, giving up, improvising, and hoping for the best. Play knight f3 and finish your development like this. Here you have basically reached the starting position. If you can't figure out how to achieve this in slightly different move orders, you probably need to replace your carbon monoxide detector or just get a new hobby. Now from here there are several variations Black can play, but they're all trying to do the same thing. Push f5, attack on the king's side, and hope for the best. They will first play either e5 or c5 to achieve this. If they play e5, just castle. They won't take the pawn, but if they do, recapture with the knight and defend the e-pawn with f3. They've given up their kingside attack, you get to keep your space advantage, central control, and superior piece activity. Play king h1 to avoid getting clapped on this diagonal with the queen and the bishop, and because it makes you look like you studied this a lot more than you actually did. They don't take the pawn often though, because they want you to play d5, so they can throw their f-pawn at you. You need to make them work for it, which means only push the pawn if they play knight c6. I know it's an extremely complicated idea for your infantile mind to process, but it is nonetheless very important. So if they don't play knight c6, finish developing with bishop e3 and keep your pawns where they are. This will upset them, causing them to do freaky shit like knight g4, which you'll see all the time. Whenever this happens, play bishop g5, compelling them to play f6, and then just retreat. They've officially run out of steam, and now you can start ripping them open with c5. Easy. If they play knight c6, which they pretty much always will, push the pawn, and they'll come here. You'll reach this position most of the time. Here you will notice your opponent's eyes glazing over because the only thing they are thinking about is they're about to play f5. If you don't immediately lose after they do this, they will have absolutely no idea what to do, and you might actually win the game. So what do? Attack on the queen's side, survive on the king's side. Your plan is to play b4 and c5, which extends your massive space advantage, ruins their structure, and allows you to replace your feelings of positional discontentment with more appropriate, inwardly directed self-hatred. For example, after b4, knight h5, c5, knight f4, take the knight, play rook c1, and you have an amazing position. Now if they play f5, it sucks, because you'd play bishop d3, and their attack is dead. Congratulations, you are now in a good middle game. So, if you fuck it up from here, it's not my problem. If they play c5 instead of e5, castle. After c takes on e5, recapture with the knight, play bishop e3, and then f3. Your plan is to put the queen on d2, bring your rooks to these files, and from here you have an amazing position. You can trade on c6 and go for a queenside attack like this. You can keep playing arbitrary positional moves that look impressive. You can aim to trade off the dark squared bishops with b3 and bishop h6. Pretty much anything. Except, get laid. Anyway, there are a billion variations in this opening, but here are the key points. This is the default setup you're going for. Memorize it. You should be able to achieve this pretty much every time. Play hard to get, and make them play knight c6 before you push your pawn. Attack on the queen side with these pawns with the goal of gaining space and damaging their structure. And don't play the exchange variation, you fucking... And that's how you play against the King's Indian defense. Develop, take a huge center, attack on the queen side, and eventually you might even get a 4-digit rating and win some respect from your peers. Subscribe to the channel to learn more about chess. Like the video, liquidate your assets, and then use the proceeds to put up highway billboards with my channel information. Continue sharing my videos to anyone who will pay attention to you for more than 5 seconds. And keep your eyes peeled for more videos coming soon. I'll see you next time.